Hi friends, welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome back to my channel. If you've been here for a little bit, I'm so excited about this video today. I asked these questions on my Instagram. I asked these questions on Instagram months ago, like probably before even the new year. But now that I am out of the fog of the first trimester, I thought I would sit down and talk to you about how I started my blog, how I started Instagram, how I started getting paid from Instagram, how to approach sponsorships, all of the questions that you had related to those things I would love to address today. If you have any questions that you feel that I don't address, I would love for you to leave a comment below and then maybe I can make another video or just straight up answer your question if it's not answered. On Instagram, you can find an entire highlight that I did and saved to my profile about how I approach sponsorships and kind of a behind the scenes of what I do when I have a sponsored campaign with a brand. So you can check that out at The Real Katie Waldow. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to subscribe, you can click the little button in the corner and subscribe so that you can get all of my videos first thing, to be the first to know about all the cool things that are happening. Anyways, this camera hates to focus. It just hates me. I don't even know if it was focused that whole time, but we just did that intro. That's what we're going with. Okay. So without further ado, which I used to think was adieu, like I bid you adieu. I used to think it was spelled that way and I pride myself on spelling. So it was a humbling moment for me. I actually find out that it's I bid you adieu and without further ado, spelled differently. In case you didn't know, this is now a educational spelling channel. So I grabbed my handy dandy goals notebook. Can you see this? Is it gonna focus on the notebook? We don't know. Here we go. So I grabbed my handy dandy goals notebook and in it I wrote down all of your questions that you asked me on Instagram so that I would be prepared for you and have everything ready to go, ready to answer your questions. Anyways, so let's start off with how did I start my blog? So before I started my blog, I had this running notebook of ideas, like blog post ideas, blog name ideas, and I just kind of brainstormed on that for a while until I landed on heykatie.co and until I had a kind of general idea of the direction that I wanted to go in and the topics that I wanted to cover. Lots of people will tell you that you have to have a niche, that you have to have one specific thing that you talk about, and while I do agree that will help you and will probably help you grow faster if you're like an expert in your field at something, I am a jack of all trades, master of none, and so for me that was kind of a hard sell. It was not going to work for me to just be like a food blogger or a style blogger because I don't care about one thing enough to do it every single day forever. So I decided I would just pick 5 to 7 things that I really loved and rotate through those items on any given day in any given blog post. So for me, that is style, travel, beauty and wellness, vegan food, my family, Steve, the love of my life. Things like this, like teaching you how to do stuff on Instagram and social media because I love it. And my house, like pretty house stuff. But I'm also not like a super DIY person, so mine is not the blog that you will come to like do a major Chip and Joanna kind of thing. Mine's kind of like, look at this cute mirror that I found at a thrift store and made it work. These are kind of the things that I rotate through speaking about. Also sometimes like PCOS, infertility, that goes under the beauty and wellness section of the blog, as does like fitness things or whatever. I would love to talk more about style, but I basically don't get dressed enough to do that, so LOL. I just kind of share things as I think to, you know, put on a real outfit and go outside. So I started my blog by buying my domain name once I settled on it, and then also purchasing a theme, which the company that I use is called Get Polished. They are not in existence anymore, but there are so many amazing ones, including the Blog Stop is my very favorite. I just purchased a theme from her last year and I thought that I could do it myself and input it, and it's actually taking a really long time. So my site is not new. It looks the same as it always has, but I cannot wait to implement all of her beautiful design and update my site because she just really has amazing stuff. So check her out, the Blog Stop. Her name's Ariel and she's really, really wonderful. I'll link her site here below as well. My suggestion would be to use a domain name. Don't be like heykatie.wordpress.com. Like, just pay to be your site if you're really serious about it. If you're not really serious about it, don't invest the money and start simple. But if you really think this is something that you're gonna love and do, just go right ahead and pay for your site. I think it also helps to have a physical website because in the event that Instagram and Facebook and all the social media disappears, you still have a place where people can come to find you. So that's always the end goal, converting those people that you find on social media into subscribers or readers of your blog and the things that you have to say. Always helps to have a physical space on the internet, a physical website on the internet, because especially too then if you're not interested in necessarily writing or photos or blogging or social media, but maybe you want to be a speaker or you want to sell an e-commerce product or whatever, having a site that has those capabilities is going to help you. I love WordPress. I also think Squarespace is really great. I have not had experiences with other website hosts. I don't even know if that's the proper term, but I love, 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 love WordPress. I will use that until my dying day, most likely, unless someone tells me something better. I've been using WordPress forever. It's what I know, so that's what I continue to do. But yeah, WordPress and Squarespace are my two faves. Pay for a theme, I would say, you know, again, like I talked about the blog stop, pay for a theme that is beautiful, that you love, that feels like conveys your brand or your personality or whatever well. So that is how I started. It took a couple $100s to start up, but it was worth it. I'd rather have done that than just kind of slap something together that I didn't really feel excited about, that I didn't feel was beautiful, that I didn't feel proud of sharing. So if you're a similar way, I would save the money, or if you have the money, use the money to do that, because I do think it has paid off in the long run. The next question is along the lines of how to grow a brand but stay true to who you are. Whew. This is a tough one to address, but it's not a tough one for me to do. I have always tried to be kind of like a what you see is what you get kind of person, and I think that people who know me in real life would agree that the person that I portray to you, while it is a higher energy version of my maybe everyday self, it is who I am, and I don't sway from that. And I think that that really helps me stay true to myself, even though, you know, I'm growing a brand, because I'm branding myself like a cow with things that are already like uniquely things that are interesting to me. So I'm branding myself by sharing things that I'm actually already just authentically interested in, right? Like I said before, I'm not trying to just be a style blogger, because that would not be me. As much as I could maybe grow that and like show you outfits, it just wouldn't feel true, because a lot of times I am in leggings and a t-shirt and a sweater, which is what's happening right now, okay? I would just say, don't pick something that is not who you are. You know, I think that's the easiest way to stay true to yourself while also creating a brand. If there's something that you're so good at, if you're just amazing at creating recipes and taking beautiful photos of those things and sharing that with people, please do that, share that, and you'll be able to build a beautiful brand, you know, that is sustainable, because it is true to who you are. It's not you trying to be someone else. Also, for the love of God, if you're a food blogger, please do not do the 10 pages of like, well, I was walking through the forest and I happened upon hazelnuts, which I'm going to use in this recipe. Like, just give me the words, just give me the 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of sugar, and give me the directions so we can get on with this, okay? I just wanted to say that because I felt like it was important. So I think also continuing to write, the more you write, the more you practice, the more kind of find what your voice is, right? You can kind of find what kind of writer that you are, or what kind of things you like to share, or how you like to share. If you're more of a visual person, lean into that. I would just say, really figure out what your strengths are. And try to kind of lean into those, share your gifts in a way that is cohesive and intentional and beautiful and entertaining or educational. And I think you'll be able to create a brand, but also stay true to who you are in a way that feels authentic and real and good and fun, you know? Also, one thing I would like to add, blogs are a lot about consistency, she says, as she hasn't posted in a month. But in the beginning of the blog, I was really good about posting every week. I do realize that things are kind of moving away from blogs and more into like visual space and, you know, microblogging on Instagram and things like that. And that's kind of where I'm trying to diversify. Hello, here I am on a YouTube channel, trying to learn things that I don't know. But really, consistency, no matter what, in anything that you're going to approach and try to do and be successful at, consistency is going to be key. So showing up. If you can't show up on a weekly basis, batch write stuff, because inspiration is not just going to hit you every day, or you know, I think some people wait for inspiration and then that doesn't happen, and then there are crickets, and then we haven't heard from you in a month, and everyone's like, did she die? Is there a blog? What's going on? Creating a consistent audience who shows up for you means that you have to show up as well. If batch writing, if writing a bunch of things and then pre-scheduling them will help you, do that. If you know that every Monday you have this amount of time to sit down and write, do that. If you have to take 10 minutes, 5 minutes of every day, and that's the only way you're going to get anything done, do that. You know, you just have to find what works for you and use that to remain consistent in that space. Because again, like I said, I mean, a huge part of me doing anything on Instagram or this blog successfully has been consistency. I mean, it is perseverance, it is hard work, it is consistency. And even when it's like not the most perfect photo or the most, you know, beautiful prose, whatever, I've been consistent, and I think that really will help you, especially in the beginning when you're trying to kind of create that momentum and you're new to people and people are kind of like, well, why should I keep following this person? Why should I follow this person at all? Why do I care what they're saying? And don't think about those things as much as you can. You know, it doesn't matter. If you have something to say it. You will find your audience in that way, and you don't need those people who are kind of like Debbie Downers. All I'm saying is if you want your people, your audience to consistently show up, you also have to kind of show them that you are doing the same thing and that you are there in that space and you have stuff that you can teach them or you can, you know, inspire them with or entertain them with, whatever. Someone asked how much to invest in blogging and branding. I think that just depends on your individual budget. I only had enough to do a couple $100, do the most simple thing in the beginning. If I was able to afford a fully branded person, like a person to fully brand my work, I would work with them, but I don't have, you know, $700 to a couple $1,000s to do that right now. Maybe someday if I do, that'd be great. But, you know, there's plenty of resources out there from free to super expensive. So just figure out what your budget is. And then from there, I think it'll be easier to find out kind of how much you're willing to spend. Again, like you really do not have to spend a lot of money to make something really beautiful. And if you are going to spend money and again, it goes back to me saying the things like the domain name and the things that make the website just yours, like the hosting, so that you can, you know, offer affiliate links and all of that stuff on your blog and outlinks and all of that. Those are the things that I would invest money in instead of like a personal branding package from someone who's like design minded, because there are plenty of free resources or cheaper resources on the internet for beginners. You do not have to go and spend, especially if it's going to impede you from actually doing it. Like just actually do it. Don't focus on, oh, I have to have the most expensive, beautiful thing right away. Okay, because that's not true. The most beautiful thing doesn't have to be expensive. And you can find resources out there. Whatever your budget is, whatever your financial situation is, there is space for you to create. And if it has to be totally free, you can do that too. Most of us have a very expensive HD, 4K, whatever the heck camera in our pocket because we have iPhones. But really, you have a lot more resources at your fingertips. You have a lot more Reese's at your fingertips. Obviously, we know where my brain is. I'm hungry. It's the baby. Pregnancy is crazy. You have a lot of free resources at your fingertips. Someone asked how to not get caught up in all of it. This is a hard thing not to do, but I would say this goes back to being true to yourself, not focusing on like likes or followers or whatever. I am not even to 10,000 followers yet. If 160 people would love to go follow my Instagram, I would so appreciate you. Not better. It's really fine. We're fine. I've been doing this since 2017 and I still don't have 10,000 followers and I don't even care because I've been able to get paid sponsorships because I'm showing up consistently, authentically, creating good work, entertaining, educating, inspiring. If you're focusing on those things, it's easier not to get caught up in the, oh, did that person like my photo? Also, share stuff that you want to share. If you are trying to just share things for likes or for follows, people can see right through that BS real quick. Share what you want to share. You will find your audience. I say this from experience because I've had plenty of instances where Steve and I have had hard conversations because I had expectations of a photo or a video or something that did not happen and then it kind of ruined the mood and that was on me. Or I've had to talk to him about how I'm not immune to it. Like it does hurt, you know, and I say, oh, post what you want, it doesn't matter. But I say that also having experience posting what I want and feeling like it does matter when other people don't like it, right? But as long as you can kind of not let that get to you, it's okay to feel that way sometimes, but really just continuing to just do what you want in that space is going to make you feel more empowered. If you're focusing on stuff that you love, if you're focusing on educating, entertaining, inspiring other people, I think you're going to get to a place where you feel comfortable and you don't feel like, oh God, if this doesn't get X amount of likes, I have to delete it or I have to whatever. It's just, don't do it. Don't delete stuff. It's part of your body of work. It's part of you, you know, getting to the place where you are successful. I have not deleted a photo. You can go back to my 2011, very grainy, very sepia tone, whatever, very like weird filtered Instagram photos of like my cat and my sisters and my food and whatever. I mean, really, my content has not changed that much. I don't delete those things because I like going back to see when people weren't that fancy, right? I like going all the way back to the fancy 500,000 followed people and be like, you started somewhere too, because we all start somewhere. So don't be ashamed of that. Try not to get caught up if you can. I know that's an easy thing to say. And also, if you feel like you're getting caught up in that stuff, set boundaries, walk away from it, or, take some time off from it, or maybe consider not going into something like this if it's something that you think you would be susceptible to getting really caught up in. Last thing too about this, it's the internet. It's only ever glimpses of people's lives that they want you to see. It is not even the full picture when they are being open and vulnerable with you, because there are just some things that you don't need to share on the internet. Please. I think that part of that is just having a good separation of reality and fantasy. Having that good separation between living your life and feeling like everything you have to do or everything that you're living to do is to share, Another question I got is how to promote your blog or your product or whatever without sounding like you're desperate for followers. Well, again, I'm going to say it once. I'm going to say it a bajillion times. Be yourself. Write like you would be talking to a friend or your sister or your mom or whatever. Try not to be salesy. Try to be personable. If it does help you, maybe look up different marketing or advertising tactics by people who are experts in the field and have created ways to kind of naturally share things. If you believe in your stuff, if you're excited about your stuff, then people will be too, and it won't be like super salesy. But if it's not something that you feel really behind, if it's not something that you're like really excited about, or and I don't mean like jumping up and down excited, but if it's just not something that is like true to you, it's going to be a lot easier to tell. That is why a lot of times if a product is not even on my register, if you're sending me a sausage collaboration, but I'm trying to eat a mostly plant-based diet, I am not even going to look at that email. I'm going to delete it, because that would be so inauthentic. It would be so obvious that I would just be doing it for money or for followers or for sausage clout. Is that something? That sounds disgusting. Every one of my youth group kids is probably rolling their eyes. Also, my sisters are probably pretending they don't know me. So that is how I would say to promote your blog without sounding like you are desperate. Also, don't be desperate for followers. Again, if you are creating quality content, you do not need 9 bajillion followers. Know that followers help and they do matter, but so does engagement rates, so does authenticity, so does beauty, so does like creativity. Those things matter more than the number by your name. And I think that again, in the long run is going to help you versus, buying followers just to show that you have 10,000, but no one's really engaged in your content because they're actually not your people. The question was, what was it like when you started? Well, I started in 2017 and it was really fun and I really loved it, and I had maybe 1,000 followers, either not quite 1,000 or like just over 1,000. And I was using my Instagram like personally, and I was being a little bit more artistic with it, a little more creative with it, and I decided to kind of transition my personal Instagram into the blog. So the first year was just me creating content for the fun of it, the things that I liked, the things that I thought people might want to see or learn about. I didn't make any money until my first sponsorship in 2018, which was with Reebok, which is really amazing. Before that, I did a lot of in-kind promotions where brands would send me products and I would try them, give an honest review, or share on Instagram about them because they sent the product. I don't really do that anymore because I'm not trying to amass a bunch of stuff, and also because my time is precious and my work is important to me, and I do think that I should be getting paid for those things. And I do think it is important for creatives and people who are doing work to be paid, because it is like marketing and advertising for these companies. So I do not do a lot of in-kind things anymore unless I really believe in something, in the mission of something, in the mission of a company or ministry or whatever. But I'm not really into the like, we'll send you free stuff and you talk about it. Also because that's not always a great thing. It's a great thing to do to start if that's something that you're trying to kind of just like show brands the work that you can do, that you're willing to do for no money. But kind of once you've proved yourself, I think that it can get to a place of like, just again, too much stuff, consumerism, that kind of whole feeling of like, oh yeah, just please send me stuff for free. And then your heart's not really in it because like you're like, well, I'm just getting this product, which is great. I'm not discounting free products. It's a really nice gift, but that person's getting free advertising from you for all the work that you're putting into it. So that's kind of how it was in the beginning until I got my first payment. If I never got paid, I do think I would still just show up to do it because it's a hobby for me. It's an escape. It's a way for me to express myself creatively. I really do just love it. And I do have a full-time job outside of this that I do not need money from this. It is nice to make extra money. It is nice to be paid for your work. But I found that I have a lot of interest and I like sharing with people and I like connecting with people and I like giving recommendations. And if somebody wants to pay me to do that, I'm not gonna say no. I say all of that just to remind you that this is not a quick money-making scheme. So I didn't make money in the first year and I still don't make more than like part-time wages now, which again, I am acknowledging that that is a lot of money and that is amazing. But it is not something where I could just like leave my job and become a full-time blogger. I'm gonna do a quick pivot to Instagram because it is my favorite social media platform. I love talking about it. I love educating people on it. I love answering all of your questions related to it. So let's talk Instagram. First question, best strategy for engagement and followers. I would say create beautiful content. Try to aim to educate, inspire, or entertain with any posts that you're sharing. I know I said share it because you like it, but don't just share it like for likes is what I'm saying. Be engaging, answer your comments, answer your DMs. It's really, really discouraging as a follower of someone when you're constantly showing up, engaging in their content and it's crickets from them. Respond in the way that you would want response from someone when you're interacting with them online. I would say be engaging. Also look at other people's photos, engage with their content. Don't just stay in your space and answer your questions and be all about your account. Use proper hashtags. Instagram currently, as of this video on this day, allows you to still use 30 hashtags. I use usually 30 hashtags in a comment after my post so that it's not cluttering up my post, but it's still reaching. It's helped me get like way more intense reach than just the people that are following me. And I'm not talking about like love, hashtag selfie, hashtag relationship, hashtag flower. I'm talking about like seriously curated hashtags that go with your brand or with the thing that you're sharing that makes sense for you. The more that you share in like your niche, whatever that is, whoever your people are, the more that you like hone who your audience is, who your target customer is. And I say customer lightly because we're not like necessarily trying, everybody's not trying to sell something, but like who's your person? Who are you speaking to, right? The more that you speak to those people, the more you'll be able to create your community. You can't speak to all people at all times, right? So the more that you kind of figure out what your purpose is, what your voice is, what you're trying to say, and who you're trying to say it to, the better it will be for you to grow and to remain consistent and to provide engaging content for those specific people as well as for yourself. Someone asked about balancing real-time sharing versus prepping feed posts. I don't prep a lot of my posts because typically I am not really doing a lot of things. Again, I don't have like a product or a good to share. I'm really just talking about my life, so a lot of it is a lot more instant, but I will often plan for like my most engaged time of the day. So like if I know that most of my audience is on at 9 p.m. but I took the photo at 1, I'm gonna spend the day figuring out what I want to say, what I want to share about that image, and then I'll wait till 9 o'clock. I'll schedule it all out on Buffer or on Preview. Those are the two apps I like to use for my grid. And this will go back to what works for you. If you find that it's cutting into your family time and there's a better time, maybe 12 noon is a better time for you, you just have to do what works. And then if you're consistent, your followers will know, oh, okay, like Katie's posting a photo at 12 today, or Katie posts photos at 9 o'clock on whatever day, and they know to kind of show up at that time to see what you're doing. If you are less consistent about that stuff, I know people don't like this all the time, but I like sharing when I have a new feed post in my stories because I know a lot of people are watching my stories. I have about 9,800 followers and I get about 3,500 views in 24 hours, which I know is great for stories. So I really try to put things there if I don't think that people are going to see them in my feed necessarily because it's at an odd time or whatever. So those would be my suggestions. Really just finding what works for you, for your family, and for your life. Okay, I had to switch memory cards, so I hope I moved my camera and I hope the perspective is not too off. So I use Preview and Buffer to plan my posts for my feed, and if I'm not instantly sharing right away, it is still usually within the same day. Often if I have an event or if I have multiple photos to post from something, then I will plan it a lot better. But again, because I don't really have a physical good or digital good that I'm necessarily selling, unless I have a campaign scheduled for a specific day that I have to share, a lot of times it is relatively instant for me and for what I share. And I used to share every single day. I don't do that as much. I try to be on stories every single day because like you can be a lot more relaxed and you don't have to feel like you have to like get yourself together to do something, you know? As far as the feed goes, I am not always sharing everything in the exact moment that it occurs. In terms of initiating collaborations, all of the collaborations that I've had have been brands approaching me or things that I have applied for through companies like Aspire IQ or For.co. Those are my two favorites. Or emails coming out saying like, hey, we're accepting 50 influencers for this campaign. Here are the details. Here's the posting. Here's the compensation. Please apply if you're interested. I have never sent out initially. I've never pitched to a brand yet because I've just not had the time and I'm not trying to get in over my head. I use For to send my engagement rate, kind of like media kit. I have rates set for myself when someone asks me, how much is it for an Instagram post versus a blog post versus a YouTube video, etc. But Canva is a really great free resource where you could create your own media kit, or there are people out there who will do it for you. But then you could approach brands if that is something that you want to do. Otherwise, I would get in with some kind of like influencer recruiting company, essentially, like Aspire IQ, like For, like some company that is specifically geared toward influencer marketing and being the middleman in between brands and influencers and people who are trying to, you know, work on specific campaigns. So being a part of those companies, also pitching to brands, also tagging brands in things. This is another question that someone asked. How do you get gift samples from brands and stuff like PR kits? I think a lot of that has come from me tagging brands and things that I'm already using, and then their PR people reaching out and saying, hey, we'd love to send you one of our PR kits. Would you be interested in that? And then I say, sure, please send me all of the makeup stuff. Here is my home address. So I think tagging brands is a really important thing too, just authentically, naturally doing that as well. And the last question for today, how do you come up with ideas? There are so many blogs, so many articles on Pinterest. I mean, Google, just say like ideas for a blog, blah, 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 lifestyle blog ideas. It'll be like 100 lifestyle blog ideas, 100 YouTube video ideas. And in a Google Doc, I will create like a running tab of all of the ideas, all of the videos, all of the blogs that I want to do. And whenever I'm feeling kind of like in a rut, or I don't have inspiration, or nothing's like happening that day, I kind of pull from that in terms of what I want to talk about. A lot of times I'm talking about things that I'm dealing with in my life currently, but again, if I need inspiration, it's always good to kind of have that blog library, whatever you want to call it, of ideas right there in order to kind of, that's where I pull from when I'm trying to figure out what to share. And again, going back to like the 5 to 7 things that I love to share, rotating through those, like how could I share this in a new way? How could I educate someone on this? How could I entertain or inspire or whatever with those things? So that is my answer for that question, the last question that I had from you guys. My camera is about to die, but I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video. Again, if you'd like to give it a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel. If I left anything out, if you feel like I didn't cover anything, or there's a question that you have, please feel free to leave me a comment below or find me on Instagram. The words of the mom from Just Friends. Be yourself, be yourself, be yourself. What's her name? Joyce? No, her friend is Joyce. It doesn't matter. Anyway. Thank you so much. You're so wonderful. I'm so glad you're here. I'm really grateful for you, to everyone who has been on this journey with me, who has been part of helping me grow, who has been someone I've been able to connect with and share my story with, who's shared their journey with me or their story with me. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so thankful that you show up, and I just want to keep showing up for you, creating things that you like. Yeah, so I hope you have the best day ever. You're amazing and wonderful. Bye.